out of the gray and into the green. This has got to be one of my favorite places in Japan. Top 3. Throughout your journey as a creative, you have a lot of time to experiment with different mediums, different formats, and different ways to capture your vision.
Serious. Probably purchasing something.
A lot of the work that I do professionally is typically filmmaking. I use the word professionally pretty lightly. People somehow pay me to make videos, but oftentimes I question my own quality.
SoundCloud, Spotify. Yo, what's up? Bro, there's too many things going on the screen. Yeah. Beautiful.
When your hobby or something that you enjoy becomes a job, all of a sudden a new potential problem enters your life. That problem's name is burnout. For me, burnout happens when I'm doing a specific type of job or a specific kind of work over and over again, where the work becomes so repetitive, it loses a lot of flavor. A lot of times this is inevitable, and it's not always a bad thing. The better you get at something, the more in demand you become, and naturally the more jobs, the more work you pick up. For a while recently, it felt like I was doing the same sort of video jobs over and over again for similar clients. And of course, it felt like the product that I was putting out, even though you're putting in a lot of effort and trying to learn each and every project, sometimes the work can get a little stale.
That's crazy, bro. You know, they go both here, so. Where am I?
That's where film photography comes in for me.
It's so hard, it's a rangefinder.
I first came across analog photography, I think in my Tumblr days. It was early middle school and I had picked up my first Holga 120N and snapped a few medium format photos of a pretty famous bridge called the Kintai Bridge. But I didn't revisit the medium until roughly around 2017. That's where I picked up my first point and shoot camera, the Ricoh GR10. It was very much the experimental stages. You know, when you first start out in a specific medium, you really don't have any idea of what you're doing. But the beauty of film photography, besides the images that you produce, it's all about the process. There really is something magical about physically loading film and then going out and having a finite number of frames or images that you're able to take. My film journey evolved from that first point and shoot through numerous other point and shoots and an evolution into medium format film photography. And nowadays I feel pretty comfortable, obviously with a lot to learn still, but I continuously keep coming back to film photography again, not just for the images it produces, but mainly for the process. Burnout comes when you do the same thing over and over again, and disruption to that process, for me, is one of the keys of avoiding creative burnout, and quite literally preventing me from ripping the hair out of my head every day. Film photography in many ways is so similar to filmmaking, but again in other ways it's so different than filmmaking. At least digital filmmaking with the modern DSLRs, and the high-intensity, high-paced shoots that I'm pretty accustomed with both through fashion, tech, sports. Client work in general is really high paced, there's a lot of volume, and I feel like the polar opposite of that is loading up a roll of film and going out and capturing some images. Let me get away for just a second to thank today's sponsor, Motion Array, for making this video possible. I've been utilizing Motion Array for years, mainly with their presets, motion graphics, sound effects. I've used a specific hit preset I downloaded from Motion Array in hundreds of videos over the years. And for filming, it's such a great resource. They've recently launched a new voiceover tool utilizing AI. All you have to do is upload your text and select the style of voice you'd like generated. And you're left with a fully licensable track that sounds like,
well, I'll tell you.
It's pretty wild the kinds of creative options this can unlock for your projects.
If you're interested in Motion Array and the AI voiceover feature, click the link in the description for more information. And thank you to Motion Array for sponsoring this video. A lot of you guys who watch this probably shoot film pretty regularly, or at least have shot a roll of film in your life. When you have a physical limitation, such as the number of frames you get to expose for, that plus the amount of time you know it's going to take for that roll to be developed, then scanned, and on top of that, add up all the costs that go into creating one of these frames, you start to get pretty picky with which photos you actually end up taking. This part of analog photography is actually my favorite part. The physical process of slowing down, assessing the light, assessing the environment, assessing your framing. There's so many factors that go into the timing of when you decide to go ahead and press that shutter release. When I first started, I used to imagine a cash register's sound go off every time I pressed that shutter, just because I knew how much money it cost to get this stuff developed. And it's only gone up since then. The images that you get back from a film roll are almost always pretty magical. There's just something about film rendition that it's so hard to recreate digitally. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. It's just so much, I don't know, it's just so effortless. And also, just because you shot something on film doesn't mean it's gonna come out beautiful. There's so many normal variables and factors that go into creating a great image, but film just has that X factor. The key for me to avoiding creative burnout is finding different pathways, different opportunities for me to express myself creatively. And this, more often than not, comes out in film photography. It's something that I still feel like helps train my eye, which sometimes when I do stuff, I always try to look at some sort of value. I never know if this is a good thing or not, but the practice of film photography feels like a game, and it's almost like a positive way for me to spend my time outside of my craft and channel my creativity. This is just a really long-winded answer when you talk about combating creative burnout. The best method I've found through my experience is to just create opportunities, create pathways for you to channel your creative energy in a variety of methods. I think the process of experimentation and looking for ways to keep you constantly excited about trying new things is the way to go.